Hi. Welcome to our inaugural episode of Till Death Do Us Watch Party?
It's bad, I know.
Blame him. For our inaugural episode, we've decided that we're going to review The Legend of Vox Machina Season 2.
Yeah, I know you're thinking right now to yourself, the fuck? Why Season 2? We wanted to start recording some stuff, and, we figured, Season 2 is kind of hot right now. People are searching for it. So, we'll go back and do Season 1 if someone other than her watches these videos. So, it's coming. It's coming. So, be patient.
Just loud me out, why don't you, Lance?
Hey, man. Hey.
Anyways, in case you haven't seen any of our other channels, I'm Amber, and this is Lance. Quick tidbit. We are, in fact, married. We haven't managed to kill each other. We're doing something right. But getting straight into things, we're going to be above board. We're going to be dissecting this video. Well, not this video, this episode, I should say. And probably going to go into some spoilers. So if you haven't watched The Legend of Vox Machina Season 2, Episode 1, Rise of the Chroma Conclave, then I recommend that you pause this video, go watch it on Amazon Prime, and come right back.
I'm proud of you. You recovered really nicely there. That is a Chroma Conclave. That's say it 5 times fast. Not us, you. Yeah, you feel like a dick making fun of us for having that trip, don't you? Yeah. Anyways.
I'm only human.
So
Mostly.
So yeah, as she said, you haven't seen it, beat it. We're not going to give this warning a lot because we decided we want to try and keep these videos a little lower time. We don't want to run up to an hour because who has the time?
Not when they are dropping them in batches of 3, and we're going to do separate videos for each.
Yeah, and you may notice that Nick is not with us. This isn't his bag, baby. So he's decided to let us go ahead and do these videos. If you're like, these two, where's the other guy? Don't worry, he'll be in other videos. So.
All right. So now, after all that, we're going to go stride it right into this episode. It opens with where Season 1 actually left off. Right where Uriel, king of Iman, and pretty much all of Taldore, is resigning as sovereign of the land. And just as he does so, across this gorgeous sun, you see a winged beast. Wait, not one, but 4.
Yeah. And the way they did that was brilliant.
Oh, it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, you see the shadow.
Gave me tingles.
Yeah, you see the shadow cut through the sunlight, and you see the one just gliding on wings, and then the 4 wing beats behind it as they start separating out. I don't know who is making a lot of the calls on doing some of these animation beats, but bravo.
Well, I know that the cast of Critical Role worked very closely with Titmouse Animation Studio on realizing the vision of their game. So I do believe that there was probably a lot of input, at least from Matt, on some of these details, if not the broader strokes from the rest of the cast. For their personal stories, I think they were more involved, but when it came to the greater scope of everything, I think Matt worked very closely with everybody. Then from my understanding, a lot of the animators at Titmouse were also big fans of the Critical Role campaign.
Now, there's something we also need to tell you above board real quick. Sorry, we started going into the episode. She has watched all of the YouTube videos. She's listened to all of the episodes, mostly.
No, I'm current.
Current.
Not the one shots. Some of the one shots I haven't done, but the main campaigns, current.
So she knows kind of what's going on with the show. She knows the beats. I haven't listened to any of it. I do like Matt and the rest of the gang. I think they're very talented, but I am not the kind of person who really likes listening to role-playing games. I'm learning, and there's some stuff, but basically we thought it would be fun if she did a perspective of who has heard the game and watching the show, and who's just watching the show and has not listened to the game. So I just wanted to put that out there. I know we started going into the video, and now I'm giving you this information late, but better late than never.
Yeah. So as those dragons descend, pandemonium, chaos, It's great.
It really is.
I think my favorite part was as our child was playing with blocks, he's just occasionally looking up and just screaming, "Yay, dinos!" as the dragons wreak havoc upon Amon.
And her cackling the entire time, like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy my kid is loving that these dragons are killing everybody in this city."
Yeah, it's kind of sadistic of me, but you want your kid to enjoy the things you love, and I love dragons, so I'm okay with a little bit of mayhem and violence and chaos and destruction in the moment.
Plus, he wasn't really watching it. He was mainly playing with blocks.
He really was. He's just obsessed with dinos.
Okay.
But I digress. One thing that stood out to me as the chaos of all the dragons, and they're showcasing the red dragon and the white dragon and the green dragon and the black dragon. And one thing that stood out was something that was never clearly defined for a very long time in the game was that Uriel, the Sovereign, dies in that attack. It's hinted at because they don't know, but when the dragons attacked in the game, you didn't. They didn't go back to the Amon for a very long time, and it wasn't until they went back several episodes later that they found his body. So the fact that we as the audience got to see, oh yeah, here's the exact moment Uriel died, that was kind of cool because that was something that was just kind of like he didn't make it with the survivors. So. And now we as the audience know that. You would suspect anybody who didn't get out of Amon's probably not going to live very long if they're still alive. But, it was kind of cool.
So I didn't know. I didn't know that they went out of the first episode. Like, I didn't know if you watched the end of season 1 and then straight into season 2, it was almost like...
It's almost seamless.
Talk about a sadistic DM. Like, basically to take the ass pounding they did in the first season and then go straight into the, yay, heroes, thank you. You did such a, shit, dragons.
It pretty much is how I think he ended one session, I think almost identically to that.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I give him a breathing room. At least let him take a long rest.
Matt's notorious for calling either the breaks mid-game or the end game at like pivotal moments that were building tension, and it's like, hey, if even they have to wait to get the resolution.
Yeah, you got to leave them wanting more. I get that.
But so basically, during the chaos of all this, Vox Machina is like, yeah, we need to get away from all this. So, their good pal Sean Gilmore, he's kind of wrecked from the dragon attack, and they're all like, let's all flee to Gilmore's. They get a little bit separated. They have separate encounters. With the dragons, poor Grog, he loses his axe.
Womp womp.
And but ultimately, they all end up getting to Gilmore's. Gilmore was actually already there, but he's kind of all hurt up and beat up in his shop, having to, I think, had debris fall upon him during some of the destruction. And Pike does a scant bit of healing, and then basically we're off to the races. And they loot Gilmore's shop with his permission, and then he teleports them out before they could get roasted by Thordak's fire.
So I really like how they did the healing. I thought that looked pretty interesting. I've always tried to envision in my head what it looks like in D&D when someone casts a healing spell, and it's like you have 40 points of damage, and they're like, I heal you for 30. It's like, what does the wound look like?
Yeah.
With still 10 points. I like how it looked like... you ever see it where like people pour like hot water on cotton candy and it just kind of dissolves? It would almost be like the way they animated it was like if the cotton candy was going backwards from like dissolved to like fully formed. And she gave him like so much, and he's like, "Oh, you healed the most important part of me." But like the leg wound and the chest wound, you could still kind of see that like something was going on there. I thought that was really brilliant.
Yeah. So they of course have to flee from his shop again. And they go back to their keep, which, fun side note story, in the game, they called their keep a Grayskull keep after He-Man.
Womp womp.
And then, of course, they're hardly there, but for like a second. I think Grog, the only thing they managed to do is Grog recovers a sword that he got in season 1. And then... suddenly there's refugees already at their keep. Don't know why all the citizens of Iman already knew to go flee in there, other than it was the nearest largest keep near the city within walking distance.
There might have been like a little bit of a time elapse that we weren't like privy to.
Not much.
Yeah.
Not much.
Well, it seems like it was like, we're at the city, it gets attacked. We fall back to the next stronghold.
Yeah.
We're at the stronghold, we get attacked.
Yeah.
So, but
I love how they're like, you see Vorgel, the white dragon, he comes flying in and he's going to wreak havoc. And oh, wait. No. They're going to shut the gates. They're safe. No, he's an ancient white dragon. He just crashes right through the gate and he's like, screw y'all.
yeah. Like, it's walls have never made any sense to me when they're like, oh, we'll just shut things outside, the dragons fly.
Yes.
You're screwed.
Yes, dragons do fly. And then, of course, yet again, and they're just wanton destruction everywhere. It's great.
Wonton destruction? Yum.
WANTON.
I'm messing with you. You sound like you said wonton destruction. I was like, I can get some Chinese right now. That sounds amazing.
Anyways, they have to flee yet again. It's crazy. It's like the only thing they could do right now is run, which, I mean, several of their members are advocating that, which, in all honesty, if I was a hero and 4 ancient dragons of 4 different colors attacked at the same time, I'd probably get the hell out of Dodge first and figure out a plan of action second.
So what are they, like level 10?
They're around 11, 12, I think. 12 at the most. They're not super far along. They started campaign 1 around level 8-ish when they started recording, but it was a home game prior to that. And by the time they're getting this arc, they've gained a few levels, but not many. So they're like 10, 11, 12, in that range. I'm not certain. I'm sure Critter could jump in the comments and let us know. I've only watched through campaign 1 once, so not the best on all the details.
Look, I've been playing D&D since I was 12 years old, and I am closing in on 50. I know. I'm handsome. Doesn't look like it. Not a day over 30. I get it. Closing in on 50. I have never, in all my years, ever thrown 2 dragons, much less 4.
At the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
That is...
Ballsy.
Yeah.
Ballsy.
And when Scanlan at that part was just like, let's just let someone else do this. We can't handle it. You know, I was honestly kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a good call.
There's a reason the camera's on you because it's your show, dummy. But no, I agree with you 100%.
So Scanlan does get his wish that they run away again. They flee to Whitestone this time. They travel basically through the tree system via keyless magic. And then basically once they get there, they have a quick powwow session with a bunch of people in Vasselheim, including Percy's sister and Keeper Yemen. Then they talk amongst themselves of what to do. They get directed towards Vasselheim, and after a bit of more griping and saying, why us from Scanlan, I think it's decided they're on their way to Vasselheim, and Keyleth's going to work her magic yet again to travel to a tree she's never seen before. It's pretty much the quick rundown of the episode. I didn't go into great detail, I think, on every part, but, that's what this next part is about. So, Lance, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
Was there a standout character for you in this episode?
So, they're all great. I really like Grog.
In this particular episode, Grog stood out the most?
In this particular episode, I would say, Scanlan. He had his moment of, we've done enough. Like, how much do you have to do to be legendary and renowned and loved? They've already done their part. And I can imagine in his mind, he's like, we've done our job. We got some money. We've got our keep now. We're famous. Let's just kick back and, coast off of our popularity. Yeah. And now dragons show up almost immediately on the, what seems like almost immediately.
Pretty much on the heels of the Briarwood Hawk.
Yeah, and it's just like, there's no rest for the wicked. It's kind of like, okay, here we go again. But we're not dealing with a vampire and a necromancer. It's dragons, plural. So I think that he might have been the standout character for me. Just for the fact of, he was kind of spitting truth.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I usually will be all about Scanlan. He is my favorite character after all. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and actually throw a character that's not a main cast member. I want to say Sean Gilmore was the one who really stood out for me in this episode. You know, like his quips, his just overall kind of way that he handled it, like it was true essence of Sean Gilmore, and it's a character that Matt seeded the way that the personality would be, but Matt doesn't play that character. They got a different actor to voice him in the show, and it is quintessentially Sean Gilmore, just as Matt played him. And I really felt like he really stood out with the way it was like, you know, with his so overt flirtations with Vax, and just, you know, with him doing everything he can, giving the sage advice to Grog, like, are you sure you know what you're into with that sword? And I that really stood out to me in this episode.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. It's the sword thing I know is going to come to a nasty end for him. Like, we're going to talk about the other 2 episodes that came out, and I don't want to go too much into it right now, but yeah, if you're a shopkeeper for like ancient and odd antiquities, I imagine you have an eye for like what comes across without having to, you know, cast any kind of identification spells. So yeah, him spotting that was pretty interesting.
When him spotting that, and also just the way at first he was like, no, just take discount. I was like, oh crap, my whole shop's ruined and everything's going to go to waste. Take it all.
Yeah.
I like that, because if you've ever watched the show, he's all about like, I'll only give you a discount if you're basically a brand advisor for myself. Like everything Vox Machina had to do, they had to be like constantly like branding Sean Gilmore's Glorious Goods. They had to be basically his spokesperson everywhere to get the discount that they got every time they went shopping. It was kind of hilarious. He's a brilliant salesman.
So it was kind of like the Legend of Ricky Bobby with the moon pie across the windshield. I don't know who makes this, but I do love them. I can't see anything on the road, but I do love moon pies.
Pretty much. And then, okay, was there anything else that was character? Was there a particular scene that stood out for you?
In this, well, I mean, everything with the dragon attack.
Oh yeah, the dragons were fantastic.
The basically almost the bellows effect down the neck and through the chest whenever he activated like his breath weapon, the fact that it went Super Saiyan and turned blue and did the twing on the horizon as everything fucking exploded, like that was nuts.
Yeah.
The acid rain when the one dragon flew over.
I loved all of the effects. That anytime any of the dragons flew over, it seemed like, I think because of their age, their bodies just exuded the element that they were kind of associated with. So you had the acid associated with Umbrasyl as he flew over, but Vorgil was shedding ice. It wasn't just his breath. It felt like he was shedding ice underneath.
It was snowing before he showed up.
And then I can only presume, I mean, obviously Thordak, you could see that the land was just erupting in fire around him. And I know the reason to why, but I can't tell you that.
That's fine.
Because there is more to Thordak than what meets the eye, and you've already pointed it out once. But there's more to that as well. Is
it the gigantic thing on his chest
that
says "Kill me here"?
We'll get to that when it comes to important. Okay. But then with Raishan, I feel like you could also just feel like she was just like floating in a cloud of poison air constantly. It was some really beautiful details that I really enjoyed.
So I don't know if it was the same one, but like the one that would fly over and then it would rain acid and people would melt. Like I also noticed like he was constantly salivating. Like his mouth was just constantly like dripping, so like that would be like the acid, I guess, that was just constantly rolling off of him.
I just like that even though I know they're kind of shying away from IP designs, they still kind of had that little bit of skeletal look that Black Dragons are known for in a certain RPG system that I'm not going to name right now.
I don't want you claiming our video.
All right. I think that covers kind of the bulk of it, but I have one last question for you, Lance, because this is specific for you, because after all, I know where this story heads. You're kind of in the dark, other than hopefully they win in the end, right?
Sure.
Where do you think what do you think happens next? They're on their way to Vasselheim, or you kind of know the first 3 episodes, but what do you think? Where do you think this story's going?
Well, I mean,
do you have any kind of like insights that you think where this story is going to head?
So I feel like when the refugees get to the keep, there's a kid that shows up with bright green eyes. I am wondering about that person because they do a thing where it's like they really kind of zoom in on this kid. So I'm wondering if that might be like a dragon in disguise. or something that is viewing the past through this person, or something that's coming of power that's aware of the passage of time. Don't know. And I know you said you are not going to broach it with me at all.
No.
Yeah,
I am not
You're
going to.
straight up stone-faced me.
Yeah.
But
you brought up the sword. You think something's going to happen with that sword.
It's obviously smarter and it has a bigger will than him. So I think it's going to basically drive him to be like a murderous berserker guy, where it's like he's just going to, like when he was killing the fish folk.
Different episode. We're not going to know yet.
Sorry. But yeah, I think it's basically going to take control of him and make him have a murder boner every single time he goes into combat. I think what's going to happen is they're looking for allies. They're going to... You can't give the victory to the NPCs. So you have to suit up the heroes to where they can take on the big baddies. Now, do I think they're going to take on all 4 dragons at one time? There's no way. No way possible. Do I think that in the end they're going to run into a MacGuffin that helps them beat the encounter? Yeah. So that's basically where I see it going.
Okay.
But I also see, because the show is how it is, and even though they're all friends and they're a party, I can also see where it's going to be like this journey, because it's so important and they have to find these things that are going to have trials. It's going to test like their friendships, their union, their resolve to get the job done. So I think this season is going to be very emotional on the party.
Okay.
So that's just my guess.
Okay. Well, let us know if you think Lance is right down in the comments.
I'm not going to read the comments.
And I'm going to say, if you do think he's right or wrong, please avoid any spoilers for the actual Critical Role Campaign 1 Chroma Conclave arc, because as we've stated, he's not seen it, and I'm trying to preserve the mystery and mystique of some of those twists and turns for him.
Or you could just say, like, oh man, he's spot on with that, or he's spot off with this. Like, you can keep it vague. I'm not going to read the comments. Amber's going to mount into the comments. I don't want to have anything spoiled for me. In this world, it's hard enough to duck around spoilers. So I'm not going to, we're not going to start a show where you're going to go on there and be like, you fucking dumbass, it's this. Or you're wrong about this. I don't want to know that stuff. After watching the beginning of this series, I told her, I said, I'm kind of amenable to going back and watching these, and she said, I kind of wish you wouldn't.
Not until at least.
Like, watch the stuff that they're doing, but don't get ahead of it, because she's enjoying right now me watching it from a pure perspective.
Yeah, it's fun having the sullied versus the unsullied, as it's called in other fandoms.
Not to mention that her and an old roommate of mine read all the Game of Thrones books. And as I sat and watched the first season of Game of Thrones, in the first 3 episodes, Amber goes, you got a character you like? And I went, yeah, I really like Ned. And behind my head, as I'm playing the computer, they're making fucking faces. Like, oh, okay. And then when we get to
episode 9.
a part in that show...
Episode 9, Season 1. If you've seen it, you know.
If you know, you know. But when that part happens, they're leaning behind me, like making faces, like, "Oh, this is gonna be so great." Like people who watched their friends, like recorded their friends with the Red Wedding, because like I was so mad at the end of that episode, and then I literally made the statement of, "Don't get attached to any characters because he's just gonna kill it." Now keep in mind, I haven't read the books at this point, and I said, "Don't get attached to any characters because all the ones you like, he's gonna fucking kill." And Amber's like, "You have no idea." So,
and then he proceeded to ask me who my favorites were. I told him, knowing one of the ones I listed is totally gonna die soon.
Rob.
I love Rob. I think he's a great character. He totally bit it. But that's not Legend of Vox Machina, but what we reviewed just now was. Yep. So, if you liked us, leave us a review, comment, share this video.
Contribute to us on Patreon.
There's no Patreon. I don't know why I keep saying that.
There's eventually going to be one, and someone's going to watch it and be like, oh, okay.
All right. Well, anyways, I hope you have a nice night, and stay on the lookout for our review of episode 2.
And remember, never split the party.
Never split the party.
Don't do it. Bye, everyone.
Bye.